I never thought a quiet Saturday morning would turn into the kind of circus you only see on bad TV. But there I was, standing barefoot in pajama pants, gripping a private property, not for sale sign like a weapon, while Karen's shiny SUV sat caged behind my lock gate. You know what I mean? There's that split second where the padlock clicks shut, and it's just you, your nerves, and a neighbor who's gone from passive-aggressive to full-blown villain in your life story. The Realtor, with her clipboard clutched like a riot shield, froze on my porch step. Meanwhile, Karen's voice rang out from the window sharp and entitled, "You can't trap me. This property is mine to show." And for a moment, the woods echoed with the kind of tension that makes your skin crawl and your sense of humor come out just to keep you sane. Hikers stopped on the trail to film the chaos phones up, grinning like they'd scored front row seats. That was the morning my peaceful cabin turned into a battlefield. And man, it was a long time coming. The real beginning was 3 weeks earlier. A simple knock at my door that should have been nothing. Karen showed up wearing a smile that was all teeth. One of those suburban types who rolls into mountain life thinking the woods will just bow to her will. She looked me up and down, said something chirpy about new neighbors, and within 5 minutes, she was already anxious to find out if I planned to sell my place. I just shook my head no. I told her, this cabin's my fresh start after a divorce, not just a pile of wood and nails. She blinked, let her eyes linger on my porch, like she was measuring for drapes, but walked off humming like everything was fine. It wasn't. 2 days later, some hikers showed up asking what year my cabin was built. They'd seen it online listed for sale. At first, I thought it was some mistake, but the way they looked at me, you could tell they weren't just browsing. That night, I scrolled through real estate sites until my heart nearly jumped out of my chest. There was my place with photos that only someone trespassing could have taken, and Karen's name right there as a family representative. I didn't sleep a wink, just pictured strangers poking through my things. The next morning, I cornered Karen and demanded an explanation. She just laughed, said she was gauging interest in the neighborhood, like it was all a friendly favor, not a total invasion. She skipped off humming, not a care in the world. From then on, things just got weirder. Realtors started popping up, measuring my garden, talking about flipping it for a profit. My no trespassing signs meant nothing. Every time I thought maybe I was overreacting, Karen escalated more listings, more flyers in my mailbox, more strangers wandering up my driveway. She'd leave little hints like talking about buyers coming soon or how not everyone's cut out for mountain life. At first, I tried ignoring her. Turns out ignoring Karen is like leaving a pie on the porch for raccoons. It only makes things worse. The final straw was one evening I'm on my porch grilling when I spot flashes in the trees. At first, I think fireflies. Nope. It's Karen out there snapping photos of my cabin phone held high like she's on assignment for better homes and gardens. She didn't flinch when I yelled, just waved and said, "Helping a friend." That friend must have been every look on the internet, because within days strangers were showing up, one even asking when the open house started. That was the night I stopped sleeping well, started double locking my doors, and kept the bat by the bed. I tried to get authorities involved. Nobody seemed to know what to do with a neighbor running a fantasy real estate game. So I started documenting everything. I put up cameras, snapped photos of every sign, kept copies of every bogus listing. I made it my new hobby to chase off anyone who came by with a brochure. But Karen didn't care. She just smiled, told people I was the caretaker who got too emotional that I was squatting on what she was trying to sell. Then one day a friend called, said they saw a new online listing claiming my cabin was in foreclosure. Motivated seller price to move. It screamed like my life was a Black Friday sale. That's when I realized this wasn't just about money for Karen. This was about ego, about proving she could get her way no matter who she trampled. She wanted my house and the satisfaction of forcing me out. So I fought back. I built a gate strong enough to hold back a stampede, painted new signs, set up more cameras. I called a lawyer, got every document proving I owned the place, filed complaints so thick you could stack them and make a chair. But Karen wasn't finished. The more public I made her antics, the more she doubled down. New flyers appeared in town, this time painting me as a squatter, a hostile loner blocking a legitimate sale. She was relentless, painting herself as the hero, me as the villain. But then a twist. An old-timer at the diner leaned over one day and said, "You know, there's rumors about old mineral rights buried under your land." Suddenly, everything clicked. Karen didn't just want a mountain view. She wanted whatever was rumored to be under my cabin. That's when the whole story went from annoying to downright sinister. I dug up old land surveys, talked to neighbors, gathered everything I could. The deeper I dug, the more it was clear she wanted what she thought was buried treasure, and the cabin was just in her way. I stepped up my game. Flyers post online, copies of my deed handed out at the market. Slowly, people started to believe me. Karen got sloppier, hiring surveyors to march around my fence, showing up with men in suits, pointing at my property line, acting like I was invisible. But the more she pushed, the more people started recording siding with me, seeing through her act. The final act came on another Saturday. Of course, it had to be a weekend, right? When you think you can relax. This time, Karen showed up a whole convoy. 2 realtors, a guy in a suit, investors, all dressed like they were about to buy a country club. They rolled past my open gate, parked like it was already theirs, and Karen started in with her sales pitch, her voice sweet as syrup, telling everyone this was a deal of a lifetime. I waited till they were all on my land, then swung the gate shut with clang, locked it tight, and stood there with my sign in one hand and a folder of proof in the other. "This is my home," I said loud and clear, "and you're all trespassing. Every second you stay here, you're breaking the law, and every bit is on camera." The investors looked at Karen suddenly, not so sure. One asked for proof she tried the same caretaker story, but her voice cracked. I pulled out my deed, tax receipts, legal statements, read them out loud for everyone. Phones came out. The crowd started filming, and Karen finally broke screaming at me, saying I was ruining everything that I didn't deserve this land that she'd been promised it long before I showed up. The entitlement was so raw, so ugly, it made the crowd gasp. That's when the sheriff showed up. Sirens, lights, the whole 9 yards. I handed over everything, videos, documents. Witnesses stepped up, and for once, Karen had no words left. The sheriff cuffed her at my gate, read her rights while the whole scene was filmed by neighbors and random hikers alike. Her SUV got towed away. The investors stormed off, swearing never to come back. And just like that, the war ended, not with a bang, but with Karen's world collapsing in front of an audience. Days later, the story was everywhere. Videos racked up online. Karen became a cautionary tale for every neighborhood in the county. I finally got my quiet mornings back coffee on the porch with nothing but wind and pine needles for company. The sign stayed up not out of fear, but as a warning, cross the line and you'll pay the price. Sometimes hikers still stop and ask about the Karen incident. I just smile, shake my head, and say the truth. This place isn't for sale. Never was, never will be. She wrote her own ending. And in the end, it was her own schemes that caged her in with the world watching. But here's what I really wonder if it happened to me. How many others are fighting battles nobody sees right in their own backyard? Would you stand your ground or let someone like Karen write you out of your own life? I'd love to hear what you think. Tell me in the comments if you've ever had a neighbor cross the line and what you did when the world stopped watching.